One of the most famous of the students of the mystery schools is the legendary Pythagoras. Pythagoras waited and prepared for 20 years before his initiation into this science of the invisible. He went on to start a revolution in thinking when he revealed to the profane world another secret of the Egyptian mysteries. In the simple and irrefutable science of geometry lie the secrets of the universe and of life itself. Pythagoras returned the lost key of meaning to the alchemical maxim, as above, so below. The universe, and man as the embodiment of the universe, live and work by the same rules, are brought into and out of existence by the same forces, and are both subject to the same laws. Each can be understood using the same maps. The shapes and forces described by sacred geometry are the roadmap, and perhaps even the seed of life itself. In the design of the Temple of Karnak, we observed firsthand the sacred geometry that was the source of Pythagoras' inspiration. The invisible science of the ancients was preserved and at the same time veiled behind the symbolism and measure of the temple. The temple itself was the embodiment of the ancient teaching of the mystery schools. Its living walls enshrine and forever teach an understanding of the deep secrets of creation. Its sacred geometry enshrines and mirrors the fundamental geometric laws that are the working schematics of the created universe and life within it. The temple is consecrated to Amun the invisible, the animator of form, the breath of life across the waters. The temple is the house of Amun. For a time, it was the living body of Amun. Over the 500-year span of its active life, the temple lived and grew by the same laws of sacred geometry that govern organic life and growth. It was for a time animated by the voice of life. It was host to Amun. The temple incorporates an archetypal or natural geometry that lies behind all of life. This geometry is the result of a mysterious number pattern that occurs throughout nature, known to the modern world as the Fibonacci series. The invisible voice of life shows itself in the material world through an interplay of numbers and form. These primal archetypal forms are the template and seeds of life. The sacred geometry expressed in the Fibonacci series allows us to clearly see this invisible other world that is the mysterious source of life. To better understand the role of the Fibonacci series and organic geometry in the world around us, we met with Michael Schneider, author of A Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe. Michael demonstrates the dynamic presence of the Fibonacci sequence in the living, growing world.
Well, the Fibonacci numbers refers to a sequence of numbers that grow by continual expansion, but a very special balanced growth expansion. And the mathematical definition of them really is an archetypal pattern. Starts off with the numbers 0 and 1. 0 sort of acts like a seed in a sense. 0 and 1, and the rule is that each next term is the sum of the two previous terms. So 0 plus 1 make 1. 1 plus 1 make 2. 1 plus 2 make 3. 2 and 3 make 5. 3 and 5 make 8. 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233, and endless. But it's an expansive pattern that shows organic growth patterns that occur all through nature.
The invisible Fibonacci spiral shows itself in the visible world in the nautilus shell, the sunflower, and the branching of trees.
This mathematical sequence charts nature's progress of organic spiraling growth through self-accumulation. The appearance of this sequence, embodied by the Fibonacci spiral or golden spiral in plants, animals, or solar systems, tells us that the Fibonacci sequence and phi ratio underlie an internal harmony, excellence, and dynamic balance, during the inevitable growth and dissolution processes. It is the play of life itself, clothed in the four states of matter. These characteristics are the open secret of balance, of animal horns, seashells, plants, and galaxies. For example, as the chambered nautilus creature grows larger, the gland that exudes shell material also grows, building a widening shell. The shell's golden spiral shape maintains the same center of gravity at any size, so the nautilus need not learn how to balance itself as it matures. The same is true for the growing horns of a ram. As the horn material accumulates, growing larger and more massive, its golden spiral shape maintains the same center of gravity. Thus, the ram need not adjust its posture throughout life to uphold its growing horns. Similarly, the tree that puts out branches and leaves in spiral staircases up and around their respective trunks can get enormously large, yet the tree always balances, no matter how massive and complex it grows to be.
And so any kind of organic expansion will benefit from this kind of growth that incorporates balance, physical balance. It will pack the most seeds in the least space. And whenever you find these Fibonacci numbers, you also find spirals. And the benefit of spiral is, of course, organic, expansive growth in a kind of a fashion that will also maximize all the benefits of the seed properties and so forth. The way they show up in the plant world is rife with these numbers. For example, in this artichoke flower, I will simply, let's see, I'll draw a mark so we know where we started on this, and I'll count this row of petals as one row. And what I'm going to do is count the numbers of parallel rows of petals. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then back to the beginning. So there are 8 rows leading in this direction, but each petal plays a role in 2 directions. So I can also think of these as spiraling this way. And if I count the numbers of parallel rows here, we'll count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back to the beginning. So there are 8 in this direction, 5 in that direction. That's what you'll find throughout nature. 2 consecutive Fibonacci numbers composing the same structure. And what this does, what this number pattern does, is it gives perfect balance to the structure as it's growing. Not as a static structure, but these Fibonacci numbers and the spiral, the logarithmic organic spiral that occurs with them, balances through growth, transformation, expansion. And that's the beauty of this. It's balanced through growth and change, through these numbers. It's an organic expansion from that, you might say, 0 seed to as large as you like, but it's always going to have a self-resembling property. It's the closest, the logarithmic spiral is the closest definition you can get to a definition of life.
The Fibonacci numbers and the sacred geometry they produce seem to be the very voice of life. When we return, we'll see how these numbers were employed in ancient architecture to give life to the temples. As House of Life, consecrated to organic growth and the living world,